When I did the Harvard CS50 course, quite early on, they taught C, and one of the problem sets was called change. So this is the code that I wrote then, about 2 months ago that I wrote that, and about a month ago, 20 to 30 days ago, I started learning C++. So this was the code I wrote 2 months ago, and basically it just tells you how many coins you would use if you had to give back change for a certain amount of money. So it's quite long. You can see the if statements, quite repetitive. Basically, we've got a function here that converts the float amount to a larger amount that's easier to work with. We've got a function that counts how many coins will need to be used, and then the main function pretty much just calls the counting function and prints out how many coins you would use. So just to illustrate, so it's, as you can see, it says you will use 3 coins. So now that I'm learning C++, I've got a better grip about how to program. I realized you can turn this code into a much simpler code. Pretty much this area is the section that I'll improve on simply by using a for loop, and also by putting all the coin values into an array. So I'm going to do this again, and that's what this video is about. Just the CS50 problem set called change, and pretty much just an improvement on what I did a couple of months ago. So I'm going to put 2 functions in a header file. Return conversion. Let's call that one coin count. So I'm going to do these functions in 2 separate files. So let's do the coin count first. So pretty much what the coin count does is it gets the change value, and then it changes it, or multiplies it by 100 and rounds it off, so that we can work with the int instead. And I'll be doing this in C++. So let's call this return so let's just seeing that I'm doing this in C++. And then let's get change let's do that. And obviously we only want a positive value, so if change amount is smaller than 0, then we will just ask again, and then we'll round that off. Around that, then we'll just return so that's the first section. And then to convert that, we'll call this function coin count, or change. I've actually put this in the wrong section. So this converts it. And then this function will return how many coins we use, so that will be an integer. Okay, so let's start. So this is pretty much the meat of the program, and all this does is it goes down a list of coins to see if it should be giving back that amount of coins. So basically we're trying to give back the least amount of coins, starting with the largest coins. So there's a couple of variables that we'll have to declare in the beginning, such as the remainder. Will be an int. We've got a temporary value. We've got the coin count. That was an int. And yeah, let's see, we have to add anything else. We have to add the coins, the values of the coins just now. But over here we want to also have an int. We want this int we want this change amount to get the value that's returned by the change conversion function. So we'll just put this change conversion function. We call that was wrong. Not coin count. Let's call that change conversion. And then we'll put that change conversion function in there. So what that will do is our integer change amount for the coin count function will get the value, or will get whatever the change conversion function returns. So now let's add our coins. So we can just call that coins. How many coins do we need? 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents. And let's make it 1 rand as well. So that's 7. So we'll have 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 20 cent, 50 cent, and 1 rand. So those are our coins that we'll be using. Just put my phone on silent. That's our coins. So previously, as you can see, this is what we used, what I did that about 2 months ago. This is how I added all the values of the coins, and obviously this is a lot easier and a lot quicker and a lot more efficient. I hadn't known much about arrays when I wrote this code. So next to tackle is all of these if statements, and this can be summarized very nicely with a for loop. So if we say we got to start 1 rand, so we got to start at 1 rand, and in this case that will be coins 6. So if we start at 6 and if I is larger than or equal to 0, then we'll decrease I. So basically how it works is that let's say if the amount of change we have, if that is larger than or equal to 1 rand, then we'll use a 1 rand to give back change. However, if it's smaller than 1 rand, it will just skip that section of the if functions. It will go to the next. The for loop will loop it back, and we'll just go back next to 50 cents and then to 20 cents, then to 10 cents, depending on which one is applicable first. So if that's applicable to coins, and then we put I in, because that will say if the change amount is greater than or equal to the coins of the ith value, and in this case, in the first iteration, I will be 6. So it'll be coins of 6, which will be 1 rand. So coins, this is 7 because it's 7 values, but because it's a computer, it counts from 0, starts at 0. So the 7th value will be 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 will be the 7th value. So it'll start there, and I mean, I probably don't have to explain how the for loop works. So then, okay, so we'll have to get a reminder first. And our reminder will be whatever our change amount is, and however much is left after we subtract the applicable amounts of coins. So in this case it will be coins I. So then we've got what's left over, so basically how much change we have left over after these coins are taken off. Then we'll use our temporary value to store the amount that was actually taken off. So if we had a 3 rand, for example, then 3 1 rands would be taken off. So that 3 rand would be stored in the temporary value. So that will be whatever our change amount was minus the remainder. So that will give us what we actually subtracted from it. Then this is where our coin count comes in. Our coin count will be whatever the coin count was before, plus our temporary value. So let's say we subtracted 3 rand because we had 3 rand. So because we only have the largest coin we have is 1 rand, so we took 1 rand off 3 times. But we can't add 3 rand to coins, so we gotta Yeah, so we've got 300. So this will be 300 because it's in cents. So we've got that divided by coins of I. So that's essentially what that's saying, is that we've got 300 divided by 100, which gives us 3, because we've used 3 coins in this situation. So I think once I'm done with the for loop, then I'll sort of go through it and explain how it works. And then our change amount, what we've got left now, after we subtract all of these coins, is just what our remainder was. So what this should do is, for each value of coin that we have, it should go through, see if it's larger than our current amount of change, and if it is larger, or if our amount of change is larger than the coin, then we subtract the applicable amount of coins until the change amount is no longer larger than the coin amount. Then it will go back, the for loop will iterate back over until we go to the next smaller coin to see if our change amount that's left over is larger than that coin and that coin and that coin, until we get down to 1. And that way we'll be giving back the largest coin values, in other words, the least amount of coins necessary, given the coin values that we specify over there. So now these are the two functions, and obviously this function has to return something. So this will return the value of coin count. So that basically returns how many coins you've used. Looks fine. So we can delete all of this. Delete all of that. And we'll just start included all of those. So let's just let's say you will need let's call need. So when I call this function, first of all, this function will be called in order to declare change amount. When that function is called, it will ask you for the change amount, and then once it's gone through all of the program, it will return this value, and that value will be returned inside this cout function. And then we should see how many coins you will need. You will need, not change, coins, or you will use. Let's use the word use. Okay, let's see if I've missed anything. Coin count at double to int. Let's return an int here, because once this is rounded to a larger amount, you won't lose any data. You won't lose any data because there's no decimal values when you return the int. So that should be fine. And here you can see it's asking for change. So let's add 2 rand 56 cents, and you will use 5 coins. Okay, so let's see if that's correct. So 2 rand 56. If I use 2 rand 56, I can get back 2 1 rands. That leaves me with 56. That's 2 coins so far. then 50 cents because I got 56. So there's 3 coins, and I've got 6 cents left. The next one I can use is a 5. I used 4. There's 1 left, and then I'll use a 1, and that's 5 coins. And 256, I believe that was the answer. 256, 5 coins. So yeah, this is a much simpler way of writing this program rather than having all the nested ifs or all those ifs in a row, which is a lot more tedious. As they say, you shouldn't repeat yourself in programming. So all those ifs was definitely repeating yourself. So yeah, I hope maybe I could help someone with this, because I had no idea when I did this 2 months ago.